Oh, hey guys, it's Utah Steve. Remember me? Believe it or not, I do more than compile videos of past adventures, and once in a while I actually get outside and do something. So it is March 26th today. It is towards the end of March. It is barely into the spring season, and I'm doing something a little bit different today, a little more crowded than I'm used to. I am on Antelope Island, only about a half hour from my home, on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. That is incredibly beautiful, but shrinking incredibly fast. I am quite stunned. I think I camped here 2 years ago, almost to the day, not quite, but the lake was up much further and you could not see land out there in the middle of it, and now you can. And the marina where people used to just load their boats up and head out is completely dry. There's no water. It's just docks and land and no boats, and it's very sad to see. I'm not gonna get into the whole global warming thing, but in my lifetime alone, this lake has been shrinking significantly. Anyway, today we are at Ladyfinger Point. I camped here 2 years ago. Like I said, I believe it was site number 3. Today we're at site number 5. My gear is still in my car. We're doing an overnight here. There are only 5 sites in Ladyfinger Point that you can camp at, and you cannot have campfires here. As you can see, lots of sagebrush. I've discussed this before in my other video about Ladyfinger Point. It's a tinderbox, so no campfires here. There are other campgrounds on the island, Bridger Bay and a couple of other ones. They have concrete and steel fire pits, and it's kind of a car camping experience. This is an interesting place because your car is, I'd say, 200 feet away in the parking lot, and so you still have to pack your stuff in. So we're technically backpacking today, but not really. I did pack all my gear in my Osprey pack, but that's just for convenience, so I didn't have to make 10 trips going back and forth. I just have to throw it on, hike it down here, and set up. So it's a little bit noisy. You will hear some voices. It's a little bit spread out. The city isn't too far away. It's a great escape from the city, a much needed one, but at the same time, a very popular state park. And so I can see a family camping pretty good distance away at one of the other Ladyfinger sites. And I actually reserved this online, even though it's first come, first serve right now. I didn't want to lose the site to somebody simply because the weather is so beautiful. A week ago it snowed. Today it is 75 degrees and tomorrow is supposed to hit 80. In March. That's insane. It feels like summer out here. It's wonderful, but it makes me a little concerned for the drought situation here in Utah and the Intermountain West as far as that goes. And it's part of the reason the Great Salt Lake keeps disappearing. So it's been a pretty average winter, I'd say, here, and it's wonderful to have it feel like springtime. So this site is all ours for the night. We're gonna have some good food. We're gonna have some good conversation. We're gonna hike around a little bit. I'm gonna hike Ladyfinger Point this evening. We'll do a little bit of, walking around, showing you the area, that kind of thing. There are a lot of people in the rocks up there on Ladyfinger, on the actual point. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people. As the day wears on, these people will leave. There are only 5 sites here. I only see one other family camping. If other people show up, it's fine. As long as they're quiet. The Great Salt Lake is known for some great sunsets. I'm hoping for one tonight. I'm hoping we'll get a good view of the sun blowing up the sky out here. It's quite spectacular sometimes. So low temperatures tonight should only be about 50 degrees, and the high tomorrow is somewhere around 80. And I'll be doing another hike here while I'm here, a more spectacular hike that's off that way. So we're going to do a lot of adventuring while we're here. I've got some gear with me that's new that I'll be testing out for the first time. I've got a new flashlight, As far as tents go, I just brought the Snug Pack bunker again. It's not, you know, rainy, stormy weather, which is why I bought that thing. But I just recently compiled a compilation of experiences with that tent over the years that I've had it, and it got me excited about using it again, so I brought it, and we're going to be sleeping in that tonight, even though I could probably get away with a bug net tonight. The no-see-em bugs, speaking of that, are not out yet, because I would not be here if they were. They are teeny tiny gnats, and that's why they make no-see-em mesh. That mesh is made to keep those particular bugs out, and they bite and they cause sores and bleeding. If you have a dog, they'll eat it alive. It is misery out here in the hot summer. So I usually only come here when they're not out, and that is spring, winter, and fall. Summer, there's no shade anywhere on the island, and biting gnats, the whole thing just sounds like a miserable experience. So I'm happy to say they're not out yet. They have not hatched, even though it's warmed up, and I probably would have canceled this trip or gone somewhere else if they had been showing up. So we're safe for now. I'd say in the next couple weeks to a month, depending on weather, they'll start coming out and be a real nuisance. So if you plan on coming to Antelope Island, I would highly recommend against coming in the middle of summer. A lot of people come out here anyway and camp anyway, and they find themselves trapped in their tents, trapped in their trailers, out for a hike and dehydrated and no shade. This is a desert island, a legitimate desert island, not a tropical island with palm trees. What you see is what we get. I'm gonna shut up now. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna go get my gear, and I'll bring it back here to the table, and then I'll show you kind of around the area that we'll be camping in. So back to the car, and then back here real quick. You won't even miss me. You can see some people way down there at the water. This is campsite number 4 by these rocks. Last year I said something about, wow, I wish I had been able to reserve this site. It's got these cool rock formations. This year I intentionally did not reserve site number 4, and the reason why is because the pathway from the parking lot up here comes down, and the path goes right into that camp. And what I've seen over and over and over, last time I was here as well as this time, is tons of people come down, walk right through that camp, climb up on those rocks, take pictures. They don't even seem to notice it's a campsite almost. And then they'll sit at the table for a minute, and it's just very high traffic. So no thanks. Over there, I don't know if you can see it in those sagebrush clusters, there's an umbrella sticking up. That's the only other family camping here so far, and they've got the right idea with an umbrella. I didn't think of something like that. That's brilliant. But that's okay. Feels good to be in the sunshine. Ladyfinger Point is right there. That's the actual formation. It's much more impressive up close, with some incredible views of the sunset. Back this way, that's the Wasatch Front. I live right over in there somewhere. That's Ogden. You got a bunch of other cities along the Wasatch Front. Still snow in the mountains up there. That's where all the forests are. We'll be hitting those as well soon enough. But for now, the island is all ours. Here's our tent pad, our table, my gear. That's pretty much it. It's very simple. It's just a nice place to have a quick getaway away from all of that out there. It feels good, guys, to be back in nature. I really need this. As far as my gear goes, this is my Osprey pack. My son gave it to me as a gift a few years ago, and a couple of years ago. Was it last year? I don't remember. It was a birthday present, I think. And it's been a good pack. I really like it. A little squeaky when you walk, but that's about it. It's the only thing I've noticed. It is sufficient for my needs, and I kind of Filled it up more than I normally would have because I knew I wasn't hiking really almost at all with it on. We have the Snug Pack bunker tent. We have 3 liters of water. I also have a 5-gallon jug of water in my car. So there is no water out here. I should point that out. This is a literal desert island surrounded by salty water. So there's no fresh water running here. Bring your water. I brought the Thermarest sleep pad here for insulation and also for comfort when sitting on the benches or on the ground, kneeling, that kind of thing. More as a tool than as a sleep pad. My actual sleep pad is inflatable and it's inside, and so I might lay that down first for insulation and put the other inflatable on top, and then my, quilt or whatever I brought on top of that for sleeping. But mostly I brought this so that I didn't have to sit or kneel on any hard surfaces. It weighs almost nothing. If you've ever slept on one of these, they're extremely popular. You see them in a lot of backpacking videos. They're the most uncomfortable things on the planet. I don't know why more people don't complain about their hip digging into the dirt all night long as if there were nothing underneath them. So yeah, it's a useful tool, but I wouldn't use it as my primary sleep pad unless you're okay with being uncomfortable all night. So that is it. As I unpack, we will kind of get a feel for what I brought. We'll just take this a step at a time, and right now it's time to set up the bunker. Well, no sooner did I get set up than a group of about 5 kids found their way to campsite number 4. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They're all over the rocks, all over the tables, and having a game of truth or dare, one of which involved me, and they were plotting a second one involving me. They don't think I can hear them. The first one was, go up and tell that guy you have to pee real bad and ask him where the bathroom is. That was their dare, and the bathroom's right there. They know that. I was just part of their dare. The second one was walk up and slap that guy in the ass. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So I stared them down for a bit, and they realized I heard them. They're just kind of young and innocent, having fun. They're the ones camped over that way. Thank God. This evening might be kind of noisy, but they're a football field away. I just wish they hadn't discovered site number 4 like everyone else does. So if you come here and you camp at site number 4 and even walk away from your camp, there's a good chance you're going to end up with company when you least expect it. Anyway, I'm going to wait a minute until things calm down over there. It's kind of noisy, and then I'll talk about my setup. Well, I'm out for a little walk, and what you're going to see right now is some B-roll, muted B-roll footage of my campsite. Those kids have just taken over site number 4 and are playing a pretty hefty game of truth or dare, and it seems to keep involving me. And I figured I'd walk away before I had to answer their question of whether or not I'm married. They kept debating, just go ask him.
It's your dare. You have to go ask him if he's married. And these kids are trying to rope me in. They mean well. They're so loud that all I could do was take some B-roll footage and throw it on here. So we'll talk about gear later when things wind down a bit more. It's only 4 p.m. and that sun doesn't go down for another 3.5 hours. So I thought I would do a little explore. I wasn't going to do much of that in this video, but I'm going to now. Hopefully they stay out of my campsite. They don't seem to respect boundaries. They kept encroaching right in on my site and asking me questions, and one of the dares was go up and slap that guy in the butt, and I almost walked away then. It's just, their parents are right there. Their parents have come over to check on them, and they've bragged about what they're doing, and their parents laughed and went back to camp. So if they were my kids, I personally would be like, guys, that guy didn't come out here to camp with you. Stay over here and let's mind our own business. But that's not the world we live in anymore. Even the parents don't have boundaries, so I'm not going to complain anymore about it. The kids mean well. They're having fun. I think it's wonderful. My kids are not with me this weekend, so that's why I got away. We'll probably get out and camp next weekend. My son Dylan wants to come here to Antelope Island, probably one of the car camping sites. Have a campfire, the whole traditional camping thing. And it depends on whether or not the no-see-em bugs come out. That's what it comes down to. So let's explore, let's hike around, and not get sucked into a game of truth or dare. Some really cool rock formations from ancient Lake Bonneville, which is what the Great Salt Lake is derived from. It used to be, when I was a kid, the water came clear up and was super deep. You could walk out just a few feet and you'd be up to your neck. It's too bad it's not like that now. So far out there just to get to the shore. There's a straight line of lumber through here. It makes me wonder what it was. It kind of is the width of a rail bed. It kind of looks like an old rail bed that was torn up, and I don't know. But it literally follows a ridge straight through here. It's such a straight line, I can't help but think something used to come through here. Motorcycles. That's a railroad tie for sure. That's some kind of wooden track. Not a train track, obviously, but some kind of tracking of some kind, or border. I'm not sure. There are railroad ties here. Makes me think this is an ancient by modern standards. It makes me think that this is an old rail bed, but I'm not sure. I don't know what these are, these tracking. I don't know if they're like a border or some kind of track for something. I'm not sure what these are. I want to address a certain issue right now while I'm thinking about it. If you've followed my channel for very long, you know that my favorite color is blue, and I like to buy as much of my gear in the color blue as possible, as long as it's not cheap gear. I will not compromise and get cheap gear just because it's blue. But today I'm all in green, and my tent is green, and my shoes are brown, and even my beanie has brown and green in it. Well, so why the change? My sunglasses are blue, but they're prescription, so I kind of need them to see. What happened is there's a YouTuber that I watch that is a backpacker. He has a huge channel, big. He's been around for ages, And so he was one of the pioneers of this genre on YouTube. Anyway, I'm a huge admirer of his. In fact, when my marriage was falling apart several years ago, I discovered his channel and found his videos to be a great escape from the reality of what I was going through at the time, with my marriage slowly deteriorating and coming to an end. Very toxic. So I would watch his videos and I found them to be very comforting and a great escape, and that's kind of how I got into this whole outdoors YouTube thing. Is I needed something to occupy my time because I felt so helpless in saving my marriage, and I found his videos and I started watching them and I thought, I'm gonna do that. So I never started this channel with the intent of making money or being famous or anything stupid like that. It's great if you can make a living doing this. I would love to. That part's not stupid, but what I mean is the intent. I didn't start this channel with the intent to get rich or famous. But my point is, I got into this to save myself, to get out in nature and save myself from a very negative, toxic situation. And this YouTuber's videos were very helpful and instrumental in guiding me this direction. Now, what does that have to do with the color blue and the fact that I love it so much? Well, this YouTuber in the last 2 years has kind of started making it his trademark to make everything blue. His backpack, his coat, his shirt, for all I know, his underwear, everything's blue. And he hasn't said anything about it. He hasn't made a statement that blue is my thing. I've been doing that from the beginning. So like 8 years I've been like buying things in blue. It's kind of my little trademark, and also I just really like the color. It makes finding camp pretty easy too. So anyway, he has no idea I exist. It's just a coincidence, but it's become his sort of look. So in protest on this camp out, I brought the Snug Pack Bunker, my green tent. I'm wearing a green shirt, greenish camo buff, olive drab green pants, and brown hiking shoes. It's kind of my own mental protest. He doesn't know I exist, like I said. He's not doing this on purpose, but I feel like my idea has been usurped and taken away from me. So I don't know how much more blue you'll see in my videos in the future. If you go back into previous videos, you'll see lots of it. My tarp, my tent, my sleeping bag, my hammock, you name it. So anyway, that's why everything's green in this trip, even though it's springtime, and blue seems like it would be a better fit. Camp is up in there, in those hills. Hopefully those kids are staying out of my sight. Both out of my sight as in line of vision, and also out of my campsite. And this is the vast open area leading to the Great Salt Lake. I'll give you an idea of just how far out there it is by walking out there. Okay, I've walked halfway. That's where my camera was. We still have all this way to go. I really didn't want to walk all the way to the lake and then all the way back just for a cool camera shot. Some people are more dedicated and will do it, but no thanks. We'll just walk to the lake together. This is all lake bed, usually covered by the Great Salt Lake. You can see spots of it here. The ground is very soft. You can kind of see every step. This is actually some crystallized salt mixed in with it's really hard. It's mixed in with the sand. People are all over that way. Seem to have come down from a parking lot straight down. So in my typical fashion, I went the other way because I didn't come out here to hang out with a bunch of strangers. There's some more remains of where the lake was. We're almost to the shore. It's like I'm walking on the moon. Kind of swampy right here, but here's the Great Salt Lake. Now you can say you've been there too. That's it. It's like a sea of glass. When it's stormy, there's some pretty decent waves that get kicked up. Not like the ocean, but you get some pretty steady waves going. It's pretty fun. You can see there's people way out there in it. I'm surprised those kids aren't more entertained by the water, but whatever. You can see similar formations just under the water, similar to what we're looking at here. You can see where the water usually goes to. Huge drought. Great Salt Lake is definitely shrinking. That used to be a bird. As far as predators out here go, there are coyotes on this island. The rest of them, we've got pronghorn deer, which people mistakenly call antelope, which is where the island gets its name. But they're not actual true antelope. They are pronghorn deer. And we have buffalo, tatonka, that will wander wherever they please on this island because they're allowed to. This is a refuge for them. There's even a restaurant on this island that serves a mean buffalo burger. But I don't think they get their meat from the island. Anyway, last time I was here a couple of years ago, it cost me about 20 bucks for a burger and fries and a drink. I don't know if the place is even open yet. It's hard to say what's happened since the pandemic took over. I actually went camping here just before everything shut down, so I was fortunate to get in there while I could. It is hot. It's actually in the 70s, but with that sun reflecting off this beach, it's quite hot. So what I think I'm going to do is go back to camp. I'm going to lay in the tent and hydrate, just cool down. It's the only shade I have is my tent. And hopefully those kids are gone. Hopefully. There's a stop sign, so I stopped. Something used to be here. Pretty crazy. Not where you'd expect to find a stop sign. So I'm back at camp and those kids are gone, but as you can see, some other people have also found campsite number 4. I almost wish someone was camping there that was just really quiet, because this wouldn't be happening. The last time I was here, I came during a windstorm. Did you hear that? Nice camping site, dude, just from a passing car. Do you guys understand now why I go into the Uintas and find a place as far away from people as I can? I might as well be in the city. Okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to make this a negative, difficult video. What I was saying is when I camped here last time, there was a windstorm that blew through. It didn't rain or anything, but it was super windy, and even people who were camped in the other sites packed up and left. I had the entire campground to myself. And here we are on a perfectly beautiful day, the first real beautiful day of the season. And everyone had the same idea that I did. You know, I was thinking, I don't even hear those kids anymore. And they're either up in the rocks, which is very possible, or maybe they were here Friday to Saturday. Today is Saturday. Maybe Saturday to Sunday they're actually leaving. I don't know. But listen. Just like the Depeche Mode song, enjoy the silence. Words are very unnecessary. Even though I'm talking your ear off right now. Alright. The sun's kind of gone behind the clouds. I'm just going to sit here and hydrate, and I may lay in my tent. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Depends on the flow of people right now. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the quiet for now. And then I will show you the actual camp setup. After all that, I usually show it to you right away, but it was impossible to film with all those people talking and coming into my camp. So okay, it was almost too quiet, so I walked over there. There's no one there anymore. Those kids are gone, and the campsite feels and sounds completely different. Most people do what that couple and their adult son just did. They just walk over, stand on the rocks, take some pictures, talk about the size of the lake, and then they leave. I don't mind that at all, not even a little bit. I'm going to show you site number 4. I showed it 2 years ago. I'm going to show it again. I'll show you why it attracts so many people and why I wouldn't camp there. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll go over the campsite and what our plan is for the evening. This is a state park, so there are bathrooms, there are garbage cans. I just kind of play like I'm backpacking when I come here, but I do use the bathroom. I don't dig a cat hole in the sagebrush. Nobody wants to see that. So yeah, there's a perfectly good bathroom right there. Okay, so if you come down from the parking lot, you can see the path right here. As you're coming straight down, you literally walk right into Site 4. And it's got these cool rocks, and it seems like the perfect place. But everybody comes straight down the path and ends up here, climbing on the table, the rocks. Can you imagine if you were camped here? Now, people probably wouldn't walk right into your campsite, but what would happen is they would come to about right there, stand there and be like, oh, sorry, and walk off. And you would listen to that probably over and over and over, because person after person, not knowing any different, it looks like a nice little path to walk. It's not their fault. Don't realize they're walking right into a campsite. So it would be awkward and uncomfortable. But I think if someone were camped here, you can see I'm right there. That's number 5. If someone were camped here, it would definitely, if they were quiet people, it would deter people from being so noisy right through here. So maybe one day I'll try campsite number 4 as an experiment just to see what happens. Because I'm a glutton for punishment. My late wife used to say that all the time. You're a glutton for punishment. Still am. So anyway, look, you can't steal this table. They got a concrete block That's probably to hold it down so it doesn't blow away. Missoula represents. So maybe that family is from Montana. And those kids left this here. What does it say? Hello, Sam. Let's read there. They invaded my privacy. Let's invade theirs. Let's see here. Hello, Sam, Kendall, and Oop. Isn't this the coolest place ever? We are in Upper Muley Twist. And hope you have a great trip in Lower Muley. We brought a Prius up here. Poor things. And hope we get out alive. If you see vultures circling, you'll know what happened. Andrea and Maria. All right. We'll just leave that right there. Anyway, here are these amazing rock formations, and that's very similar up there at Ladyfinger Point, the actual point. Really cool. So you can see why people would come up here and take in the view. It's incredible. Don't blame them. Down there, the remains of a barbecuer, and something used to be on a pole there. Something tells me this campground used to be a lot more expansive and right on the shore of the water. More people are heading down this way. I'm just going to go take you over to camp and show you the setup before, you know, another herd of children show up and invade my privacy and ask me if I'm married and try to slap my ass. And, you know, if a girl did that, that'd be a great date. Comes up to me, are you married? No. Whapush. All right. The game is on. That's how it works now, right? You just walk up and ask someone if they're married and slap their ass. And also ask to use their bathroom. I think that's Tinder culture. It's not my vibe. Anyway, here's the site. On the table we have my roll pack, my trusty essentials. We got hygiene, fire kit, and first aid in here. We won't be using the fire kit. We will be using the hygiene and hopefully not the first aid. There's my cook pot with all my stove and everything in it. This is something new I'm going to make a separate video on. This was another gift from my friend Joe Shanks. It is a headlamp, 1200 lumens, and I have yet to use it. I've peeked in the box, but that's about it. So we'll be making a separate video of that while we're here. My GoPro for the time lapses, and in the mountains I use this underwater. I won't put that in the Great Salt Lake, it'll ruin it. But this thing's been on a lot of adventures with me. Ooh, going back in time. Time travel. Blue cup, blue spork and knife, or spork and spoon. Both are gifts of Joe Shanks. The pot was a gift from Joe. Half my gear, I swear, is from Joe. He's just a very gifty person. He's my buddy. If you've seen one of my recent videos, it shows our 5-year collaboration together. Some of the fun times we've had. And let's see, my food bag. This doesn't quite have enough fuel in it, so I want to use it up. And then I brought this that has some more in it to just kind of as a backup. Brush for what's left of my hair and my face. My Mora knife, neck knife. That's a lantern I got at Big 5 Sporting Goods. I'll hang that in the tent later. I don't know how well it'll light the table, but we'll see. So that's it. I've got 3 liters of water here. I've got a 5-gallon container in my car. I talked about the sit pad in the pack. Some more kids have shown up, as you can hear, and here is the snug pack bunker that we will be spending the night in. And as soon as it quiets down, I will take you inside and film some more, because I don't want you to have to listen to a bunch of shouting while I'm filming. Okay, it's as quiet as it's gonna get for now. So let's take a look inside the bunker and show you what we're looking at. All right. Whoa. Yeah, you can see okay in here. There's 2 doors, and I'm just letting the air flow through. 2 vents, one there, one here. This is basically jackets, flannel shirt, beanie, day pack for hiking, charging stuff, just kind of shoved off to the side. I'm sleeping on this inflatable air pad. I've got my usual backpacking pillow. That thing over there is a Bluetooth headband with earbuds, flat earbuds that don't go in your ear, so you can lay on your side at night, which I'm a side sleeper. Plan on watching a show on my phone or something tonight. And Snug Pack Jungle Blanket. Had this for years. It's very comfortable. I'm actually sleeping on top of it with the Outdoor Vitals Airy 30 hammock quilt over the top of me, but I doubt I'll need it if it's only going to be 50 tonight. I may not even need that on top of me. So that's the tent setup. Kind of a mess right now, but it's all right. Some of the things that kind of bug me about this tent, if you look over here on the vent, this has a tie out that holds the vent open to allow airflow. And then you've got another vent over here that doesn't have one at all, which makes no sense to me. No tie out. There's not even a thing in there to prop it open. You just hope it stays open. And then you've got these anchors on the side to keep it from flapping around, but not every side, just random ones. So there's not one there. So if it gets windy, it's pretty noisy. I mean, if that bugs you, it kind of tends to wake me up in the night if it gets windy, but it's not a big deal. I love the sound of nature on a tent. I don't need to use the guy lines here to anchor it down. It's not windy, but I did tie this one out just to open that vent up. And that's pretty much it. That's camp for the night. We'll go over food when we get to that point. And yeah, pretty simple, pretty basic. It's all I needed was something simple and basic overnight somewhere. Most of these people are day trippers. They're just checking out the lake, they're checking out the views, they stopped here in their car, they talk about camping here someday, and then they leave. So I don't see anyone else in this campground camping, but there are plenty of people doing the touristy thing. So I'm really looking forward to evening when I can have a quiet meal at camp and we can take a hike to Ladyfinger Point, check out the sunset and the solitude, and just really enjoy our time out here without all the foot traffic. So we now have an occupant of site number 4, and he's stayed here before. He came in on a motorized bicycle, and he's a very nice guy. He's probably, I'd say he's in his 50s. He's just solo, which means it's going to be quiet, and people will be more hesitant to keep coming over here and making all kinds of noise. He has mentioned that people in the past when he's stayed here have had no problem just walking right through his camp. So if you're unfamiliar with the outdoors, once a person is in a campsite, their stuff is their stuff. It's like their property, and cutting through their camp is not okay. It's poor etiquette, and at the minimum, and downright rude at the maximum. When people go camping, they go for various reasons, but if you see someone out here by themselves, like the guy on the motorized bike or myself, it's because we want the solitude and the beauty of the area. It's not because we want to be in the middle of a parade on, you know, Thanksgiving Day. So anyway, I have a neighbor. I talked to him briefly. We understand each other. I think this is going to be an awesome night. I'm a quiet person, so He's just by himself. Should be no problem, right? In theory. Well, our guy that's in site number 4, looks like he's got his teenage daughter with him, so it's the two of them. They should be nice and quiet. And I'm quiet. And I just took a nap, a much needed one. I didn't realize how tired I was. So I snoozed for about an hour, not a deep sleep, but enough. And it is 10 minutes to 6 p.m. We've been here about 3.5 hours. Sunset is still an hour and a half away, and I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. Before I make dinner, I might as well open my food bag and show you what I brought, my feed bag. And kind of organize myself here. They've been really quiet, just talking low and setting their stuff up, and they're aware of how far their voices carry. I don't know what happens when people get in the outdoors. They yell, and it's actually easier to hear other people in the outdoors. You don't have to yell. I'm having a good time. I don't want it to be taken the wrong way. I need this. I need to get out and be in nature again. So I'm not complaining. It's just, you know, par for the course when you come to a state park that is popular. You're going to run into people who don't get it. And especially when a city is that close, it's hard to find real peace and quiet without going way up into the mountains somewhere. So next trip will probably be way out into the desert. I have a place in mind. As long as it doesn't hit 80 and stay that hot. We're still in early spring, so I think the weather's going to be moody and go up and down, and hopefully in a couple of weeks I can get out there and really get out there away from people. So anyway, let's talk food. I can't remember where I got this food bag. It's made by Deuter. I don't know how you say that. Pack it in, pack it out. I've got so many of these that different kinds of bags like this that I forget where they all come from. I'm gonna actually take this to the ground in the shade and show you it, because with the reflection of the sun on my viewfinder I can't see a thing I'm filming. So I have something kind of different for me, not different for everyone, but different for me, and it's kind of special. It was recently my birthday, and my oldest son and his wife got me a couple of backpacking meals from Peak Refuel. Tonight's dinner is chicken Alfredo. I think I may have had the skillet before, but I'm not sure. But this is dinner. Should be nice and filling. Breakfast tomorrow is the breakfast skillet. He left the price tag on here, so you know, he didn't go cheap. Those aren't cheap meals. Then lunch, if I'm still around for it tomorrow, and snacks, those are in here. I've got some cocoa, some Cliff Bars, and basically some MRE remnants from a few different MREs kind of mixed in. I picked through my stuff and found what I wanted to bring in here. That will probably be lunch. Checkout time for this campground isn't until 2 p.m. I don't really have to be anywhere, but it depends on how hot it gets and how uncomfortable I get, whether or not I actually tear into that. I'll have some cocoa tonight and in the morning, and of course I'll probably eat the Cliff Bars, but I don't know about the actual entree. That's all I brought in the way of food. In the next few minutes I will start the Alfredo, start cooking some water. Cooking water? Do you cook it? You boil it. Start boiling some water, and I also have some other stuff I need to film while I'm up here, so in the meantime I will come back when it's time to actually prepare the Alfredo. Well, it is 6:30 and I'm getting kind of hungry. I haven't eaten in 5 hours, so it's about that time. Let's see. how to make this. It says open pouch tear mark, of course. Remove oxygen absorber. Carefully add 1 cup of boiling water to pouch. Stir well, zip pouch closed. Let stand for 10 minutes, open pouch, stir again, and enjoy. So pretty straightforward. Only a cup of water. So let's get the water going. Lots of cars coming through here. The highway runs right by this area. People probably driving in for the sunsets. Oil, scrubber, my little tiny stove by BRS. This is one of the smallest, lightest, and most affordable backpacking stoves I've ever owned. How tiny. Just the little guy. It is going to be noisy. There's nothing I can do about it. A lot of the voices you're hearing, they're not even campers. They're just here to hike around. Oh, we got a cottontail bunny rabbit over there. I lost sight of him. Where'd he go? Did you see him? Probably not. Pretty sneaky little buggers. They're cute though. You know the movie Up, where the dog's talking and all of a sudden he says, "Squirrel." Yeah, that was me just now. So 1 cup of water. There's some funky stuff floating in there, but I don't want to waste my water. So we're gonna eat the funky stuff. Well, let's see what this looks like. You know, Mountain House calls these a scavenger. There's actually quite a bit in there for how it felt kind of small before I opened it. There's quite a bit in there. That smells amazing. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks, Ash and Abby, for the birthday present. I really appreciate it. All right. We have a boil. Just like Grandma used to get. This is pretty cool. My buddy Joe gave this to me on our Bench Lake backpacking trip last August. You can take it apart, you stick it together, makes one long sporky thingy so you don't get your hands all messy when you eat one of these. I'll stir that up. Let's see what it looks like. Gotta get down in the... I've learned my lesson about stirring these. You gotta get down in the corners. If you don't, you're gonna end up with chunks of powdery grossness that you scoop up later, and it's kind of overpowering. Seagulls are out in force today. They always are out here. So 10 minutes. We will set the timer. Otherwise I'll probably get distracted. Doesn't have to be exactly 10 minutes, but at least I'll know roughly when it's ready. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Let's mix it up. That looks amazing. There you go. Can you see that okay? Thick and Alfredo-y. what we're gonna do before I take the first bite is we're going to go over here. I found a little rock in the sagebrush, some of the taller sagebrush that's a little more private. This couple that's behind me is really nice and quiet, and I'm sitting here talking to a camera, and I kind of just don't want them to hear everything I'm vlogging about. So we're gonna go over to that rock and sit, and we'll enjoy this chicken Alfredo over there without worry about sound contamination that way. The highway is just, people are driving out here to see the sunset. It's not for another, I'd say, 50 minutes or so, and we are gonna hike over there. I was going to make the sunset hike and the Ladyfinger Point portion of this outing a separate video, but there are so many people and it's so loud that I think what I'm going to have to do is make it into a montage with some beautiful scenery. There's really nothing I can do about the crowds. Everybody had the same idea. I think it's date night tonight too, so people are starting to drive in rather than drive out. You know, the sunset is, yeah, it's about an hour away. So we'll just go over there and eat, and then we'll just kind of hang out around camp before we hike over there and have a nice montage of the sunset over the Great Salt Lake. It's crowded, but I'm still enjoying myself. I'm still feeling very relaxed. And anyway, before I say anything else, let's go over there. Okay, I take it back. I went over there, I sat down, I was about to start filming. Someone pulled up on the highway and started hiking right down through the sagebrush where I was filming. It was obvious that I was sitting there with a camera. Didn't matter to them. So our couple is way out on the shore. I didn't realize they had actually left their camp and walked out, so they're out having their evening stroll. I can talk. Those people walk down through the sagebrush, whatever. I get very stressed around too many people. I'm an introvert and I recharge by not being around people. So it's kind of, struggle is real for me. Anyway, here's what we're looking at. There you go. Want some? Oh my. That is delicious. That is amazing. It's perfectly cooked, perfectly seasoned. The chicken is delicious. Fantastic dinner. I think after this I'll heat up some hot chocolate, and that should do me for the evening, really. It's quite the morale booster to have some good food out in nature, and I didn't realize how hungry I was. Now that this is hitting my system, I'm starting to feel a lot better. So I'm gonna go be alone with this for a little while, and then I'll bring you back, and we're gonna make our way up there to Ladyfinger Point. It's gonna be noisy, it's gonna be obnoxious, but it's gonna be beautiful. So we'll see you in a few, guys.